Hey, how are you? Welcome back again. This is Fathers of Nations, Chapter 4 Summary, page 46 to page 65. The Voice of America, VOA contract. Now, of course, this is in line with the procession, our order of procession from Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and Chapter 4, what we are doing currently. Hope you're finding it useful. And again, I want to salute you and also recognize those ones that have been following up. Your comments are really motivating, and this one really gives me energy and gives me the psych to move forward doing what exactly I'm doing here. And again, without that much further ado, let me do this. In case, once again, you came across this work accidentally, a friend of yours referred to this particular channel. How about that in the near future or in the future you don't want again maybe accidentally to bump across this channel, or you don't want again to be referred, you be the one now who is referring to maybe your other good friends about the same channel, and also spreading the good news, quote unquote. And this is chapter summaries of the Fathers of Nations. Remember, we had already said that we are embarking into this particular unsojourned or uncharted territories. But again, step by step, I'm going to take you through the process, even as you're trying to familiarize yourself with the context and the maybe with the work of Paul B. Vita. So, without that much further ado, again, let's dive into our next slide. In this particular chapter here, we see Miss Fiona Mackenzie gets into a taxi, leaves the Seamount Hotel and heads back to her office. She had indicated to her boss that she would be at the office in an hour's time. It takes longer to get to the office because of the roadblocks that were basically everywhere. Remember, because of this particular summit, all heads of state have gathered here. And definitely the roadblocks, for the security purposes and safety, there have been the roadblocks after every short while you come across those particular roadblocks. Now, she is stopped at ARC number 22. The police wanted a bribe from the taxi driver, an unemployed graduate. So she reaches her workplace office late. Ms. Mackenzie goes straight to see her boss, who informs her that he is pulling her from her assignment at the summit at the Pinnacle Hotel. He explains himself. He seconds her to the Voice of America, VOA. She is now on a 2-year loan from the Gambian News to the Voice of America with immediate effect. In retrospect, there was a time when U.S. policy forbade the Voice of America to broadcast in America. Now, in retrospect, this is a style of writing whereby narratives are told in such a way that there is a time shift. Events are both maybe recorded in the past and the present, and then the present and the past are being interchanged. So you're reading something, or you're reading a text that keeps on taking you to the past, brings you to the present. So there is, in other words, events which happen in the past which are being brought in, and events which are and together with the events which are currently happening. So it's also a way of a perspective. We call that one retrospect. So therefore, the image was bad for the Voice of America. That was in a retrospective perspective, if that did make sense. Retrospective perspective. It had to go. The more reason Voice of America was employing non-Americans. Mr. Robert Manley, chief of the bureau, met her at the entrance, then led her to the office. Mr. Manley instructed her that because there was a breaking story, she would start her job immediately. Her new pay is better than what Gambian News was offering and paying. She is introduced to a staff mate, a new arrival from America, Nicholas Sentinel, a communication technician. The breaking story is that a summit of African heads of state would begin shortly at the Pinnacle Hotel. Sentinel would be handy in her working. She learns that Sentinel has records of many proceedings in Gambia, including Ms. Mackenzie's interview with Dr. Afolabi. From the recordings, Sentinel confirms that there is a man talking to a total of 4 other men. Mrs. Mackenzie is taken to her new office and Mr. Manley rushes to a meeting at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Meanwhile, Dr. Afolabi tosses in his bed sleeplessly for nearly an hour before he finally dozes off. Dr. Afolabi's phone rings. He answers it. Is Mr. Fiona Mackenzie? Is it Mr. Fiona Mackenzie in that particular context? Is a dialogue which is ensuring. Remember, dialogue is also one of the use of language. But again, you need also to be very sensitive when this pops out. It should be something that you're able also to internalize, just like it pops out here. And of course, I'm setting aside a session that we're going to also be looking at use of language in this particular work. And of course, how effective that they are to the readers as now. So we continue. He answers it. Is it Miss Fiona Mackenzie? Miss Mackenzie asks Dr. Afolabi if he could nice her. He comes out to meet her but does not find her. While he readies to go back to his room, a voice of a woman about that ears cries out for help. The young woman is in a company of a man. The hotel attendant looks detached and aloof. The young woman being whisked away is noted to be Mackenzie. She shouts out Dr. Afolabi's name, and this strikes him to rush to her aid. Dr. Afolabi faces the alleged abductor, who says he is Leo, or Leo, whichever way you want to put it, otherwise referred to as Liberian Mola. A fight between Dr. Afolabi and Leo, the Liberian Mola, erupts. Dr. Afolabi wins the war and whisks Mackenzie away to his room. They go to Dr. Afolabi's suite, where she rather scrubs his face and he helps her change her clothing and freshen up. In the meantime, a phone rings. The caller is Chineke Chiamaka. After the call, his mood darkens. Most likely, maybe bad news. The mood changes rather in that case. Fiona Mackenzie shares a lot about Voice of America. And the story in Nicholas Sentinel's machine, Silent Listener, which has recorded so many things. It's like a dictaphone. You should just take that. Which has recorded so many things in the last 2 days. They spent the night at Dr. Afolabi's suite. And good learners, that also marks that particular short, abrupt episode. And that is Chapter 4 Summary of Fathers of Nations by Paul B. Vita. This is my observation and this is my recommendation. For you to get the best of this particular session that you've just had here, you should be, of course, seated in a comfortable place and not really disturbed, a notebook, pen, and of course pausing in between the session, not exactly following up through the way I've just been doing it, because it will be like literally I or me reading to you, and that wouldn't really add up. You'd maybe get the best out of this one. Once again, maybe you are seated somewhere comfortable and you're in between the lines and along the lines. Get what is important, leave out the others that you feel like they're not maybe. You pick out the most important highlighted key aspects or the key points of this particular episode here or this particular chapter summary. And of course, stay tight because I'm going to upload the next chapter, that is chapter 5. And of course, kudos guys, especially for those who are following it through. Let's just do this one. Let's support one another, even as we're trying also to get this one back to the community. Now, as usual, the only thing that you can do maybe to back up this particular channel is to give it a subscription, share it with good friends, and of course, comment down there in the comment section. Don't forget after you've subscribed to hit that notification bell. This will ensure that maybe our future uploads, you are not left behind. You'll be the first person to be immediately notified. Cheers for now.